About 150 years ago, the world came to an end. A huge explosion befell upon the world and every city was destroyed and reduced to ruins. After the catastrophe, all living creatures underwent an unknown mutation and they became monsters known as demonic beasts who now rule the new world. The humans who once ruled the world are mere ants in front of these beasts. A gigantic two-horned beast loomed over the tall buildings, sending the humans standing under those buildings into a panic, causing them to begin running. As the people ran, they bumped into a little young girl with short orange hair, her bag full of canned foods. Consequently, she fell and her canned food scattered around. Without a moment's hesitation, a middle-aged man grabbed her shirt, picked her up, and carried her while running. Even though the girl tried to put up a fight, the man scolded her, telling her that her life was more important than canned food. Although she protested that she hadn't eaten anything for 2 days, the man told her to bear with it as supplies will arrive soon. Together, they were rushing towards their base, which can provide them safety. In order to resist the demonic beasts and live on, the survivors built base towns one by one. These strongholds contain weapons that were left behind before the catastrophe and can defend against the demonic beasts to a certain extent. A female was climbing up the stairs in a rush, the vice captain of the base, and was climbing up their tower to check on the situation. With binoculars in her hand, she looked out at the base and questioned the choices of the people to go out as they were attracting demonic beasts to the base. She asked where the captain was, but before the guard could answer her question, he saw the captain out there running with a little girl, which made her furious and immediately questioned why he was there. The guard told her that there was no other way as their supplies were running out. The demonic beast had been around for a few months, so if they didn't go and search for food, they would all starve to death. To ensure the survival of the base town, it was crucial to have a steady circulation of supplies between base towns despite the difficulty in acquiring them. However, the vice captain's frustration grew when she asked the guards if the cannon was ready and was informed that while the cannon was locked to the target, ammunition was lacking. The guards suggested firing the cannon, but the vice captain firmly declined, fearing that it could provoke the demonic beast and put the base town in danger. Desperate for supplies, the vice captain asked when they could expect the arrival of the much-needed supplies. Thankfully, the guard checked the guild's schedule and assured her that the supplies would arrive that day. Meanwhile, a powerful escort carrying a bag much larger than himself was leaping across the rooftops, delivering essential supplies to various base towns. Possessing extraordinary strength, this was a risky and dangerous task that only escorts dared to undertake. The captain and a young girl were on the run when they suddenly encountered a huge exploding light and a stranger standing in front of them. The stranger turned out to be the escort with the delivery, who greeted them despite the rubble falling around them. The captain was relieved to receive the supplies and excited to finally fight the demonic beast that was pursuing them. However, the escorts rummaging through his bag caused the captain's panic to rise, especially when he produced a power-enhanced lighter that was windproof. Despite the captain's warning, the escort continued to search and found a multifunctional pocket knife, which he touted as very sharp. As the beast was now a few steps away from them, the captain and the little girl attempted to carry the escort's bag to run away, but they couldn't move it at all. Consequently, the captain, enraged, grabbed the escort's collar and called him insane as he asked them to sign the proof of delivery. Meanwhile, the little girl looked up with her mouth open due to shock. Suddenly, the beast reached out its hands to attack them, catching the escort's attention, as well as the captain whose eyes were bulging out and snot dripping out. Believing they were dead, the captain thought it was the end, but the escort called out to it and switched to a punching stance. Remarkably, light emitted from the escort's hand, and parts of the beast's body disintegrated in the light that shrouded it. While releasing his punch, the escort told it not to disturb their delivery. The vice captain was surprised and raised her hand to signal the guard to stop firing. However, the guard, also shocked, replied that they did not fire the cannon. Similarly, the little girl and the captain were surprised and speechless. As if he just remembered something, the escort exclaimed, which startled the little girl and the captain, who fell to the ground. Subsequently, the escort knelt and held out a cylinder to the captain, who was now sitting, asking him if the item was his delivery. The captain, still in shock, confirmed that the item was the universal energy ammunition the cannon of their base town needed. The escort smiled and pointed at a piece of paper he was carrying, asking the captain to sign it as proof of delivery, and reminding him to give a good review if they were satisfied with the service. Once the escort gathered the papers, he said that his job was done and thanked the captain for using their service, but the captain could not utter a single word. Consequently, as the escort was walking away, the little girl asked who he was. Lu Renjia looked back and introduced himself as an escort, expressing his eagerness to serve them again. As the sun was rising from the mountains, multiple corpses lying across the forest were uncovered by the sunlight. Among those corpses was a young lady wearing a violet dress. Suddenly, a demonic beast approached her and picked her off the ground with its hand, while picking up another man with its feet. Lu Renjia appeared behind the beast and expressed his surprise at encountering a demonic beast. However, the demonic beast sneered at him, and he recognized the symbol on its neck. The lady the beast was holding coughed as she regained consciousness, which startled Lu Renjia. When she asked him if he was an escort, he introduced himself as a black iron level escort and told her to hang in there as he was going to save her. However, upon hearing that he was a black iron level, she told him to run instead of trying to rescue her. The beast was about to put her in its mouth, but she was still worrying about him, telling him not to worry about her and just run. Suddenly, Lu Renjia was at the beast's arms and swiftly cut its arms. As the beast was screaming in pain behind Lu Renjia, he walked away from it, carrying the girl in his arms. As he kneeled and placed the lady on the ground, telling her not to worry, the enraged beast behind was now pouncing towards them. In response, a lightning-like aura enveloped his body, and his eyes sparked lightning along with it. When the beast's fingers managed to reach him, a huge flash of light followed by an explosion occurred. Rubble was falling everywhere, and Lu Renjia was now standing, saying that he was the strongest black iron level escort. After telling the lady that he would take her to get treatment right away, she stopped him, saying that she has a little sister who was running deep into the forest, holding a box close to her chest, as she was being chased by demonic beasts. The lady asked Lu Renjia to save her as she was the last hope of their village. As the sister was running in the forest, breathing heavily with exhaustion, she thought that she was now safe. However, to her disappointment, she heard a loud noise coming from behind and realized that the beast had already caught up with her. She cursed and panicked as she was running while looking back at the beast, thinking about what she should do. It was then that she did not notice Lu Renjia had appeared in front of her, surprising her. On the other hand, Lu Renjia was calmly apologizing for disturbing her and asked if she was Lu Xiangxiang. Lu Xiangxiang tried to stop on her tracks, but she lost her balance instead and fell towards Lu Renjia, resulting in them tumbling down the road. Now, Lu Renjia was lying on the ground with Lu Xiangxiang sitting on top of him, his face squished in between her legs. Upon realization, Lu Xiangxiang was extremely embarrassed and grabbed the box she was carrying earlier and smashed it into Lu Renjia's face. They were now standing, and she asked him who he was with a very red face. With the box still sticking to his face, he introduced himself as Lu Renjia, an escort from the Tianfu base, which immediately relieved her when she heard that he was an escort. As she was about to tell him about the demonic beast following behind her, a whole uprooted tree came flying towards their direction. Smoke and a flash of light emerged, and the tree was torn to pieces. Lu Renjia was now carrying Lu Xiangxiang in his right hand and the box in his left hand while he hoped away from where the tree was thrown. They could now see and were facing the demonic beast looming over them, and Lu Renjia now understood what Lu Xiangxiang was trying to say earlier. Lu Xiangxiang was now filled with horror as she asked what they would do, but Lu Renjia simply laughed and told her not to worry. Due to fear, she hugged him so tight that his face was squished in between her bosoms. He was trying to comfort her, but he was not able to finish his sentence when a flash of light coming from behind them caught his attention. Out of nowhere, blood spurted out of the beast's head, and it screamed in pain. Lu Xiangxiang was now looking back like Lu Renjia was, and they saw a man riding a motorcycle with a sidecar. He was holding a gun with a light flashing at the tip of it and was pointing it towards the beast. As the beast was screaming in pain, it charged towards Lu Renjia and Lu Xiangxiang. Lu Xiangxiang was scared, while Lu Renjia was still calm and wondered why the beast was angry at them. The man holding the gun yelled at them to stay back as he approached the beast at high speed in his motorcycle combination. He jumped out of his motorcycle combination and towards the beast as he fired multiple shots midair. He also reloaded his gun midair and shot it one more time. The beast's head exploded as the man turned his back, hopped away from it and landed on the ground perfectly. The man was lazily sitting at his motorcycle combination while he asked if Lu Renjia and Lu Xiangxiang were injured anywhere. While sparkling, he said that she was a lovely young lady as delicate as a flower and that if she were to get a speck of dust on herself, he wouldn't be able to sleep at night. She blushed when she heard his flowery words and confirmed that she was not hurt. With her eyes twinkling, she asked him if he was also an escort and complimented his cool moves. She was buttering him up with compliments and he was bragging about them that Lu Renjia was annoyed and told them he could also kill the beast. This piqued the man's interest, and he introduced himself as Nape, a white silver level escort. He was about to ask Lu Renjia but was not able to finish his sentence as Lu Renjia immediately answered that he's also an escort and introduced himself while proudly showing his badge. Nape scoffed and asked if what he was holding was a black iron level badge. Lu Xiangxiang got curious and asked what the black iron level meant. With a mocking smile, Nape told her that there are 6 levels of escorts: black iron, bronze, white silver, gold, platinum, and diamond, and those levels also correspond to the beast they can defeat. He closed his eyes and was about to give a lecture about how Lu Renjia would not be able to defeat the beast and they would have been in trouble if he hadn't arrived, but he was not able to finish his sentence. Lu Renjia just walked away telling Nape to take the corpse of the beast and claim his reward while carrying the box and dragging Lu Xiangxiang with him. She told Lu Renjia to wait a moment and asked how he knew her name. He stopped in his tracks and gave her a wooden ornament. She immediately recognized it as her sister's and asked him why it was with him, and he told her that her sister entrusted him to protect her while she delivered a batch of emergency medicinal supplies back to the village. She was about to ask him about the condition of her sister, but she was not able to finish her sentence as Lu Renjia cut her off and apologized. Lu Xiangxiang knelt on the ground sobbing, while Nape comforted her and offered his condolences. Lu Renjia looked at them, wondering if they were misunderstanding something. He apologized for being late and explained that he had taken Lu Xiangxiang's sister to the nearby escort camp for treatment. However, he decided not to clarify the misunderstanding as he was not sure if her sister was actually alive. Lu Renjia said that he had been entrusted with protecting Lu Xiangxiang while she delivered and that he had already received his remuneration, holding out an item in his hands. The item caught Nape's attention, and he seemed to recognize it. When all living creatures became demonic beasts due to an unknown mutation after the catastrophe, humanity developed a method to obtain extraordinary power to fight against the powerful beasts. That was what Lu Renjia was holding, the genetic evolution fluid, and he was surprised that Nape knew about the fluid too. Lu Xiangxiang was still crying as she told them that it was her sister's dowry. Nape suddenly had this suspicious look while he stared at her. He picked her up from the ground and wrapped his coat around her. He then began cheering her up and told her that she should do her best to fulfill her sister's last wish, which was to deliver the supplies back to the town. Lu Renjia commended his speech and told Lu Xiangxiang that they should depart, but Nape stopped them. He then proceeded to warn Lu Xiangxiang that she must be careful because the demonic beasts around the forest were not weak. Lu Renjia cut Nape off and told him that he was being enigmatic and to get to the point of what he was trying to say. With a sinister look, Nape said that he was just worried about Lu Xiangxiang's safety, who had just lost her sister and was in such a dangerous place. He then smiled towards Lu Xiangxiang and offered his services to escort her, and she agreed but questioned if she could trust him. Nape guaranteed his services and asked for the genetic evolution fluid as his remuneration. While wiping her tears away, she told them that it was the only one in their town. Nape then convinced her to make Lu Renjia withdraw from the task and take the genetic evolution fluid back so she could give it to him. He argued that she would be much safer with him as an escort. Lu Renjia smirked as he realized that Nape was after the genetic evolution fluid, which did not surprise him, as it not only allowed ordinary people to awaken extraordinary powers, but it was also key to advancement for the awakened. He then taunted Nape and asked what would happen if he said no. But Nape denied that he was doing the escort mission just for the genetic evolution fluid. Lu Xiangxiang was startled as Nape pointed his gun at Lu Renjia, and with a disgusting look on his face, he told him that he didn't know how he tricked her sister but as her escort, he wouldn't allow her belongings to fall into the hands of an outsider. Lu Renjia suddenly vanished from where he was standing and appeared behind Nape, who was now terrified as he told him that he doesn't like it when someone points a gun at him. Nape was puzzled by Lu Renjia's sudden appearance behind him. As he turned around, he saw Lu Renjia handing the genetic evolution fluid to Lu Xiangxiang. Lu Renjia explained that the fluid originally belonged to Lu Xiangxiang's sister, so she should decide who she wants as her escort. Lu Xiangxiang thought about it and decided that it was more worth it to hire a higher level and more handsome escort, even though the remuneration was the same. Seeing Lu Renjia dejected, she tried to comfort him, telling him that she was still deeply grateful for coming and rescuing her. Nape praised her for being sensible while Lu Renjia did not put up a fight and told them to move along. As the two rode away on Nape's motorcycle combination, Lu Renjia was relieved that he was finally able to send them away. Lu Renjia then headed towards the beast's corpse to examine it, and something caught his attention that alarmed him. He let out a sigh and said that it seemed he had to follow them as he saw that the beast had the same symbol as the first beast he encountered earlier. The narrator then explains that 150 years ago, refuge bunkers were prepared for elites from various countries. After the catastrophe, they established the 5 beacons of light known as dragon, fish, snake, ox and bear with their own bunkers as the core to retain civilization. An old man wearing a military uniform told Lu Renjia that he had to go to the fish-based jurisdiction, and he must not reveal his identity. Lu Renjia was asked if he figured out a way to hide it. He told the old man not to worry as he had it covered while wearing a flower costume, which pissed the old man. The old man threw a badge at Lu Renjia's face and told him to carry the escort's insignia with him. The old man explained that people with that kind of insignia like to attack escorts, so they should wait for them to fall for the bait. Meanwhile, Lu Xinxiang was traveling with Nape on his motorcycle combination, mourning her sister. Nape comforted her by bragging about his ride being called Rolls-Royce, and she cheered up saying it was cool and asked if Lu Renjia would have one too. Nape was offended by the question as black iron is the lowest level of escorts, so they could not afford a vehicle, but Lu Xinxiang added that Lu Renjia flew behind him in an instant, which was awesome. Nape was speechless and became sweaty as he recalled the incident. Suddenly, he looked at the genetic evolution fluid in his hand with an evil grin. Before he could finish his thoughts, Lu Renjia appeared at the side of the road warning him that he would crash the bike if he didn't look at the road, which startled him. His vehicle swerved on the road and came to an abrupt stop, and he nervously asked Lu Renjia why he was there. Lu Renjia nonchalantly replied that his bike was so noisy, so he was able to find them, but he protested that it was not a matter of finding. While they were talking, something caught Lu Renjia's attention, and he said that they had another guest. A huge monkey was hanging from the building in front of them, with gleaming red eyes, and it uttered the word food. After the catastrophe, the new world was dominated by demonic beasts, and the escort union divided them into 6 classes. These classes were normal, great, super, ultra, legendary, and god. According to legend, the strongest demonic beast, a god-class creature, hibernated deep in the demon mountain all year round, possessing the power to destroy everything in its path. Humans facing demonic beasts were like ants in their eyes. The huge monkey in front of them leaped from the building it was hanging from, it landed on the ground in front of them and again uttered the word food, which startled Lu Xiangxiang. Lu Renjia sniffed something from her and asked if they smelled anything strange, but Lu Xiangxiang retorted that it was not the time to talk about that. Nape reassured them that they could relax as the demonic beast they were facing was just an anime monkey that relied on begging and robbing for food before the catastrophe. He pulled out his gun and readjusted his glasses, stating that it was just a superclass demonic beast that lives in groups, so it was nothing for a white-silver escort like him. Nape then commanded the monkey to go away, acting cool, while Lu Renjia teased him, and Lu Xiangxiang cheered him on. The monkey threw a tantrum and was about to attack them, but with one hand, Nape confidently pointed his gun at it, calling it an ignorant fool. As the monkey leaped towards him, he shot its shoulder while it was midair and maneuvered his motorcycle to dodge the coming attack. The monkey was in pain, but it looked like there was not that much damage to it, which worried Lu Xiangxiang. Still, Nape was still confident and told her to be patient. Suddenly, the bullets lodged in the monkey's body exploded, and Nape was proud of what he had done, stating that a black iron level could not achieve what he just did, while Lu Xiangxiang praised him for it. Lu Renjia looked up, ignored Nape's deprecation, and asked him if he remembered what he said about this demonic beast living in groups. He was acting nonchalantly while he waved his hand to point out the group of monkeys at the top of the building. Moments later, a group of monkeys were chasing Nape's speeding motorcycle, jumping from the top of buildings to another. Lu Renjia criticized Nape's bike for being slow and noisy, questioning its capability. Nape lost his temper and told him to shut up, saying that it would be faster if he would get off. As Nape shot the beasts chasing them while driving, his agitation grew. When Nape killed another monkey, a monkey at the top of a building roared, and more monkeys appeared seeking revenge. Lu Renjia explained that the more gregarious beasts one kills, the more they appear, creating a beast wave. This information made Lu Xiangxiang and Nape equally worried. Nape shot the beasts aggressively, telling Lu Renjia that they would be waiting for their deaths if he didn't shoot. He threatened to throw Lu Renjia off the bike to see what he could do. In response, Lu Renjia stood up, carried Lu Xiangxiang, and with a smile on his face, said that he had some idea. Nape was taken by surprise, and while he asked what Lu Renjia was doing, Lu Renjia immediately jumped off the bike and punched the ground, creating a smoke screen for them. Nape was now alone on his bike, surrounded by smoke created by dust and rubble, which dropped his visibility. As monkeys started emerging from the smoke, Nape turned pale with panic and quickly ran away from the monkeys while cursing Lu Renjia who tricked him. Meanwhile, Lu Renjia and Lu Xiangxiang were hiding at the foot of a building, observing the chasing monkeys from the sidelines. Lu Renjia was laughing and told Lu Xiangxiang, who was worried for Nape, that they would hide there for now while Nape lured the demonic beasts away. At this moment, Nape continued to curse Lu Renjia while doing his best to run away, but the monkeys were closing in on his bike. Nape found himself surrounded by monkeys seeking revenge, and one of them even smashed the ground as he got closer to getting caught, but he managed to dodge by maneuvering his bike to traverse at the wall of the building. To make things worse, Nape shot one of the monkeys and ran away, threatening to kill them all if a beast wave occurs. He was not worried about the monkeys catching up to him, but he was worried about the expense of his bullets. Nape was thinking of making Lu Renjia pay once he escaped from the monkeys when he noticed a silhouette of a beast standing atop the building in front of him. The beast raised a gigantic stone pillar which made Nape anxiously speechless, and he was caught off guard when the beast threw the pillar towards him. Meanwhile, Lu Renjia was peacefully resting while drinking his hot water, and Lu Xiangxiang criticized him for it. He offered her a drink of his hot water, but she refused and called him heartless instead. Suddenly, a huge rumbling sound caught their attention, and Lu Xiangxiang became worried about Mr. Nape. With a smiling face, Lu Renjia offered to take her first to the village and then come back as a special service to bury Nape's corpse. She reluctantly refused, but then immediately switched to a firm tone of refusing when she remembered that the important supplies were with Mr. Nape, and she could not return to the village without them. Lu Renjia was confused as he could see her box next to her, but she told him that the box only contained daily supplies, and the most important medical supply was the flavonoids used for pregnant women during childbirth. She had handed those to Mr. Nape for safekeeping. She panicked as the babies in their village that were about to be born would be in danger without the flavonoids, but Lu Renjia smiled and told her not to worry because he was just messing with her. He said that monkeys can't do anything to a white-level escort unless a stronger demonic beast appears. As for Nape, he was now kneeling on the ground, his bike overturned, and the silhouette of the demonic beast was now standing in front of him. Nape was in trouble as the silhouette of the demonic beast started approaching him, and soon he found himself surrounded by monkey beasts. In front of him stood a two-horned beast with two monkey beasts by its side. He wondered if this beast was the leader of the group of monkeys when the beast started talking. It was pleased that it found a white silver-level escort and laughed with a sinister look on its face. Nape felt a chill run down his spine as he sensed an oppression that led him to believe that he was facing a high-class demonic beast. He knew that he must find a chance to escape. However, before he could finish his sentence and do anything, the beast pushed him to the side with the back of its hand, and he collided with the wall. Meanwhile, Peach Blossom Village was a village dominated by women. They lacked protection, so each generation, the most beautiful girl in the village would be chosen to marry a strong awakened man to receive protection. Lu Xiangxiang was explaining to Lu Renjia that the newborns of each generation were the future of their village, so that's why the flavonoids were important. Lu Renjia had a doubtful look on his face, and he asked where the strong who protect the village were and why Lu Xiangxiang and her sister were tasked to deliver the supplies when someone else would have been a better choice. Lu Xiangxiang blushed and said that she had Mr. Nape to protect her. Lu Renjia realized what the enumeration, the dowry meant, and they left the village in search of a blind date. He criticized her for choosing Nape, but she defended her choice, saying that he was a white silver-level escort, handsome, and skillful. Their conversation died when Lu Renjia suddenly turned silent, sensing that something was wrong. Lu Xiangxiang questioned him about what was wrong and what he was doing, but he said that there was no time to explain, and she should just follow him. They arrived at the scene where Nape's bike was overturned. As Lu Xiangxiang and Lu Renjia approached the scene, they saw a huge monkey beast lying lifeless on the ground with a splatter of blood beside it. While Lu Renjia was relaxed and recognized that Nape had killed quite a lot of monkeys, this scene alarmed Lu Xiangxiang. She wondered where Nape was, and when Lu Renjia replied that it was not a good omen, her face was filled with horror. Lu Xiangxiang thought about the flavonoids and the babies of their village, and her distress was apparent as she knelt to the ground and didn't know what to do. The village had saved up for a long time to buy those medical supplies, and Mr. Nape was also gone. Lu Renjia presumed that a high-class demonic beast must have appeared, but he did not expect Nape to be so useless that he was not able to hold on for more than a few seconds. Lu Xiangxiang rummaged through Nape's bike in the hopes that the flavonoids might be there, but to her dismay, Nape kept it on him. She sobbed when she did not find it in the bike. Lu Renjia told her to get up and hurry so they could catch up to the beast and get back the medical supplies. However, he was cut off mid-sentence when he noticed a trail of blood on the other side of the road. Lu Xiangxiang was puzzled when Lu Renjia told her that they were going to catch up to them because Nape was a white-silver escort, and he was not able to deal with them. With his back towards her and a game face on, Lu Renjia cut her off as he already predicted that she was worried that he was only a black iron escort. He reassured her that he was the strongest black iron escort and they needed to act fast to retrieve the medical supplies before it was too late. In an abandoned warehouse, Nape woke up and found himself hung upside down from the building's ceiling. Below him were disfigured bodies of humans fused into demonic beasts' bodies, and the two-horned beast seemed to be the one experimenting on them. It was disappointed that another one of his experiments died. It threw its subject away, calling it trash, and turned to check on Nape. Nape screeched with horror as the face of the beast came up close with his face while asking him if he was awake. Nape squirmed vigorously, trying to escape from being tied up while he was negotiating with the beast to let him go in exchange for supplies, money, or food, but the beast just stood there staring at him. He pleaded that he didn't want to end up like its experimental subjects, but the beast told him that those are failures. He, as a white-silver escort, must stay alive. He asked the beast if it was planning to let him go, but it said that it prepared another experiment for him. Right on cue, two monkeys wearing false lashes, makeup, and a flower on their end came in, and the beast told the confused Nape that he was going to bear a child with them. A few meters away from the warehouse, Lu Renjia and Lu Xiangxiang were scouting the area when they heard Nape's scream for help. Lu Xiangxiang was worried about what they were doing to him while looking through the binoculars, while Lu Renjia was calmly sipping on his hot water again while pointing out how funny the monkey's false eyelashes were. Lu Xiangxiang asked Lu Renjia if the plan was to find an opportunity to sneak in, but she was not able to finish talking as he interrupted her with his question. He asked her with a very serious face, asking if she had ever seen the insignia on the beast's back before. She said she hadn't and asked him why. She probed further, but he did not respond and changed the subject by directing her attention to the monkeys in the ruins. He said that the ruins are fully occupied by demonic beasts, but there was no news in the Union about it. Thus he concluded that the Monkey King could control that group of demonic beasts really well. He found himself in a troublesome situation because he'll have to get past the group of monkeys before they could fight the Monkey King. But if they were to kill it, the demonic beasts under its control would run rampant and the villages nearby would be in danger, and to top it all up, his ability has a time limit. Lu Renjia noticed that Lu Xiangxiang started to worry about Mr. Nape and the medical supplies again, so he told her not to worry as the Monkey King was no big deal, it was just troublesome if they attacked one by one. While finishing his sentence, Lu Renjia noticed something and he leaned in towards Lu Xiangxiang and sniffed her, telling her that she smells good with a funny look on his face. Moments later, Lu Xiangxiang found herself tied up and was hanging from the jib of a tower crane. She was mad and was demanding Lu Renjia to put her down, but he said that the demonic beast should gather so that it wouldn't be hard for him to deal with them. She protested and questioned what the point of her being tied up was, and he told her that she'll have to be bait for a while so he could wipe them all out in one go. Outside the warehouse, Nape's shirt was now completely torn, and he was still helplessly screaming to get the demonic beasts away from him. Suddenly, the two monkeys stopped what they were doing, and this baffled Nape. He was wondering what was going on when the monkeys started running away from him, and towards a certain direction. The Monkey King's eyes widened as he recognized the scent that was attracting the monkeys. A horde of monkeys came charging and were now climbing the building Lu Xiangxiang was hanging from. She was puzzled and asked Lu Renjia why there were suddenly so many demonic beasts, but he indifferently told her to stop faking as he knew that she was aware of the reason why. She was still strongly in denial, but as he lifted a detached crane mast and threw it towards the demonic beasts below them, he told her that she was a chosen awakener, and her awakened ability was related to smell. His words caught her off guard, and she was not able to say anything. She was only able to stare at him with a questioning look on her face. He was smiling and pointing to his nose adorably, as he explained that she still couldn't control her ability well, and even though only a slight trace of her scent was leaked, it was enough for him and the monkeys to smell it, and now they are coming after her scent. A chosen awakener are those who are born with supernatural abilities. They possess power far beyond that of an ordinary awakener, but their powers are uncontrollable, so the Union hunts them once they are discovered. Lu Xiangxiang did not move or say anything when Lu Renjia told her that if she didn't want her secret to be exposed, she should just obediently hang there for a while. Something caught Lu Renjia's attention. The Monkey King appeared below them, along with the other demonic beasts, and it looked delighted to have found a chosen awakener. The Monkey King hideously laughed as it found the situation marvelous and said that she was so much better than the white silver escort. Lu Renjia stepped towards the edge of the building as he agreed with the Monkey King. He threw his jacket in the air. His hair and arms started blazing with fire. His eyes turned bright red, as he expressed his satisfaction that the Monkey King had finally arrived. The Monkey King was taken aback by his aura and asked him who he was, while Lu Xiangxiang was also surprised and questioned him if he really was a black iron escort. He gave her a smile and confirmed that he definitely was, and jumped off the building, lunging towards the Monkey King below.